Students, welcome to BioSmart Academy. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about a very important topic, that is hydropathy plot. Okay, so we are going to discuss this topic. Please watch this lecture till end because this topic is very much important from examination point of view, and this is one of those topics which was, you can say, very difficult to handle, that is very hard to understand. So please watch this lecture till end, and this lecture will make every concepts clear about this topic. Okay, so before I start this lecture, please share BioSmart Academy as much as possible. Please share BioSmart Academy as much as possible, and please subscribe to BioSmart Academy. Subscribe to BioSmart Academy, and within 6 months of period time, you will be in a position to crack any of this examination, either CSIR, GATE, DBT, or ICMR. You will be in a position to crack any of this examination. BioSmart Academy provide free lectures on YouTube, which will be helpful on this on the preparation of all this examination, and this lecture are very helpful, very helpful for all this examination. And this all lectures are from the CSI net syllabus and from the important modules as well as for important topics. So please share as much as possible. So now let's start today's topic, that is hydropathy plot. Okay, very important topic from examination point of view. See, first of all, I want to make you clear that hydropathy plot is basically a plot, or you can say a graphical representation through which you can came to know about the segments of the transmembrane protein. Okay, through which you can came to know about the segments of the transmembrane proteins like glycophorin. Okay, like glycophorin, as I already taught you in the previous classes, that glycophorin is a transmembrane protein. Okay, single pass transmembrane protein or monotypic transmembrane protein. Okay, so hydropathy plot basically given a information about the segment of the transmembrane protein like glycophorin. Okay, like glycophorin. Okay, and this information is came through this spanning region. Okay, how this glycophorin is spanned through the lipid bilayer, through this lipid bilayer, how this glycophorin span through this lipid bilayer with the help of this alpha helix. Okay, with the help of this alpha helix. Okay, so this is about the hydropathy plot. Okay, and hydropathy plot, the main important thing is that it is a method of determining the hydrophobic and hydrophilic region of a protein sequence. Okay, it is a method of determining the hydrophobic and hydrophilic region of a protein sequence. Okay, so this is about the hydropathy plot. Now I will explain this hydropathy plot with the help of a graphical representation, so that you get a clear idea. Okay, then I will make it clear by read this PPT. Okay, so let's start this graphical representation. Okay, see, suppose, okay, see, I already told you that hydropathy plot is basically helps in identifying the segments of a transmembrane protein like glycophorin. Okay, like glycophorin. Okay, that which segments are basically inserted into lipid bilayer. Suppose this is a lipid bilayer. Okay, so in the lipid bilayer, some of the regions are inserted. Okay, like this, and some of the regions are basically present outside. Okay, present outside like this. Okay, so this region is basically hydrophilic in nature. Okay, in blue color, and the inserted region, this regions in yellow color, is basically what? Hydrophobic in nature. So which segment are basically inserted inside the lipid bilayer and which segment are basically present outside the lipid bilayer, this information was basically given by this hydropathy plot, or you can say hydropathy index. Okay, so what we have to do for this? See, first of all we have to isolate an integral membrane protein. Okay, we have to isolate an integral membrane protein, an integral protein. Okay, an integral membrane protein we have to isolate. Okay, we have to isolate this protein. Okay, isolate, we have to isolate this protein. Okay, isolate. And how can you isolate an integral membrane protein? Okay, how can you isolate an integral membrane protein? As integral membrane protein can easily isolate by solubilize the membrane. Okay, by solubilize the membrane. Okay, by solubilize the membrane, by solubilize the membrane you can easily isolate, you can easily isolate this integral membrane protein. Okay, by solubilize the membrane, by solubilize the membrane you can easily isolate this integral membrane protein. Okay, now next question is that how can you solubilize this membrane? Okay, how can you solubilize this membrane? This membrane can be solubilized by the use of detergents. Okay, by the use of detergents, by the use of detergents. Okay, by the use of detergents. Okay, now as you know, detergents is basically of two type. Okay, detergents are basically of two types. Okay, one is ionic detergent, one is ionic detergent, one is ionic detergent and one is non-ionic detergent. Okay, one is non-ionic detergent. Okay, non-ionic detergent. So by the use of these detergents, that is ionic as well as non-ionic, we can easily solubilize the lipid bilayer, we can easily solubilize the lipid bilayer and we can easily extract this protein. Okay, we can easily extract this protein, integral membrane protein, from this lipid bilayer, and we can study this protein segments, that which segments are basically inserted into the bilayer and which segments are not inserted bilayer, that is hydrophilic region, by the help of this hydropathy plot. Okay, now I have a question that I want to ask with you all. Give an example of ionic detergent and give an example of non-ionic detergent. Please comment on the comment box if you know the answer. Okay, what is the question? Give an example of ionic detergent and give an example of non-ionic detergent. Okay, please comment it on the comment box if you know it, and if you don't know, then please comment that that you not know it properly, then I will explain about both ionic and non-ionic detergent by giving the example. Okay, so please comment this on the comment box, give an example of ionic and non-ionic detergent. Okay, now after the isolation of the integral membrane protein of, okay, after the isolation of the integral membrane protein, after the isolation of the integral membrane protein, after this isolation of the integral membrane protein, okay, next step is what? Next step we have to know how, we have to know that which part of this protein is basically inserted into the lipid bilayer and which part of this protein is not inserted. Okay, we have to know that which segments of protein are inserted, that is we have to identify the hydrophilic as well as hydrophilic as well as hydrophobic segment of the protein. Okay, clear? Okay, now suppose, see, as you can see in this figure, that suppose suppose we isolate a protein of 130 amino acid residue. Okay, see, in this example we use the transmembrane protein glycophorin. Okay, so by the help of this transmembrane or integral membrane protein, we explain the whole hydropathic plot. Okay, see, suppose we isolate an integral membrane protein of 130 amino acid residue. Okay, clear? Now we have to identify this segment, and how we can identify this segment, that which segment are basically inserted or which segment basically not inserted. How? So we can easily identify by the del G of the solvent. Okay, by the del G of the solvent. What is del G? Del G is basically free energy. Okay, del G is basically what? Del G is basically free energy. Okay, free energy. Okay, del G is basically free energy. So by the help of this del G, we can know or we can identify the segment that are basically inserted. Okay, that are basically inserted into this bilayer. Okay, so as we know, see, as we know that suppose this is a lipid bilayer. Okay, Now see, and this membrane, these are in this way the membranes are basically the segment, the basically proteins are basically inserted into the lipid bilayer, and we have to identify which proteins are basically inserted and which segments are basically inserted. Okay, and we can see this example of glycophorin. Okay, see now those segment that are basically hydrophilic in nature, when we dissolve it into water, okay, when we dissolve it into water, then in this case the del g is basically what, negative. Okay, basically what, negative, because the segment are already hydrophilic in nature, so del g is negative. Okay, because no energy is required in this process. But those segments which are basically hydrophobic in nature, phobic in nature, in this case del g will be what, del g will be positive, clear. So if amino acid is dissolved in water, suppose we basically isolate a protein of 130 amino acid residue. Okay, 130 amino acid residue, as in the case of glycophorin you have seen. Okay, suppose we isolate this protein of 130 amino acid residue, and after this isolation we basically dissolve this protein into water. Why water? Because through this interaction we can came to know by the help of this del g value that which segments are basically positive and which segments are basically hydrophilic and which are basically hydrophobic. Okay, so when we basically dissolve this protein amino acid residue in water, those whose value come to be negative, they are basically hydrophilic in nature, and those whose value come to be positive, they are basically hydrophobic in nature. So in this way we can identify the hydrophilic and hydrophobic protein, but it's very difficult to exactly identify these segments. Okay, so to identify these segments, we have to first know the amino acid, that what are the number of amino acid is present. Okay, suppose this is a lipid bilayer. Okay, this is a lipid bilayer, and this is the segment, total non-polar segment. Okay, non-polar segment. Okay, see, so how many amino acid present, how many amino acid are basically present in this membrane, we don't know. Okay, we don't know how many amino acid are present. So how can we identify this? Okay, see, as you already know that lipid bilayer is made up of phospholipid. Okay, first membrane is of phospholipid, P for phospho, L for lipid. Okay, and the major membrane is of basically sphingosine, cholesterol, all this. Okay, so in this phospholipid membrane, its width is basically what, 35 angstrom. Okay, its width is basically 35 angstrom. And in case of sphingosine, cholesterol, okay, suppose these are protein, and its width it is basically made up of sphingosine, cholesterol and phospholipid. So its width basically 45 angstrom. Okay, its width basically 45 angstrom, clear. Now we all know that all the transmembrane segment that is those proteins that are basically inserted, have a alpha sequence, we all know that have a alpha sequence, and this alpha sequence is made up of 21 to 26 hydrophobic amino acids. So with the help of this they are basically inserted. Now how can we calculate what are the number of amino acid exactly present? We can calculate through the formula of, as we know, the length of alpha helix is what, 1.5 angstrom, and we already know the membrane width is about 45 angstrom. So if we divide it 45 by 1.5, then we came into conclusion that 30 amino acid basically present, roughly 30 amino acid is present. Okay, so how we calculate the amino acid, that how many amino acid may be present in the hydrophobic region? See, we basically know that those region, Understood. See, those region which basically contain the hydrophobic segment. Okay, those region. See, we all know that this is the bilayer. Okay, and this is the total hydrophobic region. Okay, and how can we calculate the amino acid in the hydrophobic region? With the help of alpha, length of alpha, as well as with the help of the width of this bilayer, width of this membrane. Okay, and we know the length of alpha is 1.5 angstrom, 1.5 angstrom, and the width of this protein, that is phospholipid plus sphingosine and plus cholesterol, is about 45. Okay, 45 angstrom, 45 angstrom. Okay, so by the help of these two, we can easily calculate the number of amino acid in this hydrophobic area. So the number of amino acid is 45 by 1.5, that is 30, that is 30 amino acid. Okay, 30 amino, that is 30 amino acid. 30 amino acids are basically present in the hydrophobic region. So by the help of this, we can easily now calculate the hydropathy index. See, now look at this figure. See, this is the 10, this is 20, this is 30, this is 40, and this is 50, as you see. Then 60, 70, 70, 80, 90, and this is 100, 20, 30. Clear? Okay, clear. Now see, this region, as I already mentioned you that this is a del G. Okay, and I already mentioned you that del G value is negative, means what? Negative means no energy is required. No energy is required means this is the hydrophilic portion, means this is the hydrophilic portion. Sorry, sorry, really sorry. This is the hydrophilic region. Okay, this is the hydrophilic region. Okay, and del G is positive means this is the hydrophobic region. Okay, this is the hydrophobic region. Del G positive means this is the hydrophobic region. Okay, this hydropathy index is basically represented as del G. This is a negative, that is -3, means this is the hydrophilic region, and this is the positive, that is +3, means this is the hydrophobic region. Okay, as I already mentioned you that when a particular protein that was isolated from the integral membrane protein, basically which consists of actually 130 amino acid residue, when we dissolve that protein, the del G value came to be either positive or negative. If negative came, then it will be hydrophobic, and positive came, then this will be if negative came, then this will be hydrophilic, and if positive came, then this will be hydrophobic. Clear now? So you can easily understand that this total portion is hydrophilic. Clear? And this portion is basically hydrophobic. Clear? This portion is basically what? Hydrophobic. Clear? Now, as I already mentioned that by the use of formula, that is 45 by 1.5 angstrom, it is 30 amino acid present in the hydrophobic region. Okay, maximum to 20 to 30. If we take 35 by 1.5, then there will be 20. Okay, so let's look at this figure. See, if we look at this 1, that is 10, that is 20, and this is 30. So by this, from here to here, you can easily observe. Okay, from here to here, you can easily observe that 30 amino acid are there. 30 amino acid residue are there. Okay, that is, see it very clearly. Okay, see, if we make a parallel line here, from here, okay, this is a center and this is a end. So till this 30 amino acid are basically present. So 30 amino acid are present, and this is a del G, that is hydrophilic region will be came because of this -3, and hydrophobic, this is +3. So now I think you get a clear idea about this hydropathy plot, or you can say hydropathy index, that how can you identify the hydrophilic region, how can you identify the hydrophobic region, how can you know which segments are basically hydrophilic or hydrophobic. So by the use of all this, you can easily identify the hydrophilic as well as hydrophobic area. So still, if you have any problem, any doubt, then you can contact me by comment on the comment box, I will make your doubt clear. Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, now see this plot. This is a plot of bacteria. Okay, that is bacteriorhodopsin. Okay, see, this is a plot of bacteriorhodopsin. Bacteriorhodopsin. Rhodopsin. Okay, this is a plot of bacteriorhodopsin. Now you can tell me how many hydrophobic and how many hydrophilic regions are present. See, del G, this is a del G. Okay, this is a del G. So see, this is a del G portion, as you know, del G portion. And from this figure you can easily identify that this is a positive del G, means this is the hydrophobic part. Okay, this is a hydrophobic part. And from this you can see this is the negative, that means this is the hydrophilic part. Okay, and the distance basically minimum of 30 amino acid here also. Okay, like this. So how many segments are present of hydrophobic in case of bacteriorhodopsin? There are 7 fragments. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So there are basically 7 fragments are present in case of bacteriorhodopsin. Okay, so this is the this is not Gargophorian. Okay, this is bacteriorhodopsin figure. Okay, so there are 7 fragments are present in case of bacteriorhodopsin. Okay, in case of bacteriorhodopsin. Okay, in case of bacteriorhodopsin. Okay, clear. So now I think you have a clear idea about the whole concept of this hydropathy index. Now still if you have any doubt, please comment on the comment box. Okay, I made you clear all the things with the help of a graph, with the help of a diagram, so that you don't have to remember this PPT as well. Okay, so if you like my video, then please share it with your friends and subscribe as much as possible. Okay, and if you have any doubt related to this topic, then please comment on the comment box. Okay, this topic is really a typical one, okay, to understand, so comment. Okay, and all the things that I have explained you basically written on the PPT, so don't need to watch that PPT. Just focus on the concepts that I make your. Okay, just grow on your concept and just write down these things that I basically mention in this video. That just note it down on copy. Okay, so that's all for today. If you like my video, then please hit the like button and comment, and please share and subscribe with your friends. Till then, thank you.